Hey, I'm Matt Porwoll, a cinematographer shooting primarily feature documentaries. And today we're in Sunset Park, Brooklyn at Brooklynphono, where we're going to be shooting a mini documentary about the process of pressing vinyl records. And today we're going to talk about the C300 Mark II and the variety of camera configurations that you can use with the camera. So here I have my day-to-day configuration for my C300 Mark II. I like to build it out a little bit more because when I'm shooting on the shoulder, I need a little bit of weight so that the balance and the stability comes through in the picture. And I love shooting on cinema zooms. I don't get to do it all the time, but when I do, this is how I want my camera configured. So here on the camera, I have the 15:5-47 Canon Cinema Zoom, which is a great lens for verite handheld shooting. I've got the airy base plate and top handle kit on the camera, which I find extremely comfortable, but also low profile and lightweight enough to shoot all day with. So one thing I love about this airy base plate is I've got the shoulder pad built in, but with the VCT plate, I'm able to quickly go from tripod to shoulder really quickly. So I love shooting with an EVF on this camera. You know, focus is critical. When you're shooting in 4K, it's even more so. So having an external viewfinder that gives you a sharp picture with peaking and waveform is an absolute must for me when I'm shooting in the field. So here I have the Zacuto Gradical X, which gives me all of those features and is a great looking image. Here I've got an external battery solution that I'm using, and this is great because if I'm trying to power my Gradical, if I'm trying to power an onboard monitor during interviews, and the camera, I can run all of those off of one battery system, and I only have one set of batteries that I have to worry about having on charge. What's also great about this is it gives me a counterweight. If I'm shooting with the compact zoom or have more front weight, this really balances everything out on my shoulder and makes it a lot easier to shoot all day. What's also great is this now gives me a plate that allows me to attach other accessories. I can put a wireless camera hop on the side. Here I have a time code box, which is very important in documentaries where we're not going to be tethered to sound and I want to have precise time code to keep us in sync. So this gives me a lot of mounting options for the variety of accessories that you might find yourself using. Here I have mounted my monitor unit off to the side. And this is really nice because while I don't want this in the front because I'm using my Gradical X as my viewfinder, I like putting all of my cables, my audio inputs, all of that to the back of the camera so it cleans up the front where I'm operating the most. But what's also nice is if I'm shooting from the hip, I now have a monitor that I can flip up, quickly find frame, and not have to hunch over looking into the viewfinder. So it gives me multiple monitor options when I'm shooting with the camera. On the front, I have a bright tangerine matte box. And you know, when you're shooting outside, shielding the lens is a must. While I do love the way that these cine zooms and compact zooms flare, I also want to control that in most situations. So it's really nice to have this lightweight clip-on matte box on the front, as well as being able to give you the ability to put in clear filters, grad NDs, as well as polarizers if you're shooting landscapes and things like that. So having the matte box is really nice and doesn't add a lot of weight to the camera. So let me show you what I have set up on the other side of the camera. Here I've got my camera mic, and in this case the Sennheiser 416, which is an absolute must for having on a documentary rig like this. I've also got an audio wireless receiver here so that I'm able to monitor the sound and focus on what my subjects are saying, which is extremely important. So as I've been building out my shoulder rig, one thing I found that's really important is to take my grip unit and move it forward. And I'm using these rosette extensions here from Wooden Camera, and that's really great so that I'm able to brace my elbow against my body, and it takes the weight as well as keeps a really stable shot. So this is how I've built up my C300 Mark II for my day-to-day shooting situations, and this is something that's been an evolution for years. You know, it started with my original C300, and I'm constantly working at it and finding solutions that work, and I enjoy looking for new and better ways to modify this rig. So let me show you a different setup that we've got over here. So here we've got the C300 Mark II built up with the Zacuto 17-120 C300 Mark II kit. And this is something that was specifically designed between Zacuto and Canon for this lens with this camera. And while it's very similar to what I had set up with mine, you know, they've really worked to modify this so that it works really well with this 17-120. Because of the weight and size of this lens, they've developed a really nice support system here on the front, and they've added a nice counterbalance system in the back. Still with using an external battery, this gives you a lot of mounting options. They've also included the Zacuto Gradical EVF, which is a really nice feature with this lens and camera. The other thing that's great is the 17 to 120 is a Cine servo zoom. So you have the option of having servo zoom capabilities, or you can remove that handle unit and use it as a Cine lens, which is a really, really nice feature. So with this setup, I've got the small HD monitor on. This is a small HD DP7. This is not part of the Zacuto Canon kit, and neither is the battery, but otherwise you're getting everything that you see. I mean, you've got the 17 to 120, the graticle, and the counterweight with the base plate. So this is a really, really nice setup with this lens and camera. So let me show you another configuration with the camera. Here I've got the camera set up in a stripped down run and gun rig. And this is really nice. This is the camera, how it comes out of the box. I've thrown on my favorite lens for this configuration, which is the EFS 17 to 55, awesome verite lens. And I've put a Sennheiser 8060 camera mic on the camera as well. This is really nice for a strip down. It gives you all the same functionality that you have with these other rigs, just in a lightweight, compact style. So another way that we might use this rig is I'm going to strip this down and just take the body only. I'm going to put this body onto a gimbal system, and we're going to use that in this mini dock to get some really nice walk and talks as we're moving through the space looking at the machinery that you see in the background. So here you've seen a variety of different configuration options for the C300 Mark II. And that's what I really like about this camera, is that you can take the small body design, which is lightweight and compact, and you can rig it out to whatever you need. Because the body itself gives you all the functionality that you need without having to add on additional pieces. But if you want for counterweight, for shooting functionality, for external accessories, the camera really gives you the ability to add anything you want in a comfortable and sturdy configuration. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I build up my camera, and thanks for watching.